His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Alleluia, Alleluia. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to the crowds, "The reign of God is also like a dragnet thrown into the lake, which collected all sorts of things. When it was full, they hauled it ashore and sat down to put what was worthwhile into containers. What was useless, they threw away. This is how it will be at the end of the world. Angels will go out and separate the wicked from the just and hurl the wicked into the fiery furnace, where they will wail and grind the teeth." "Have you understood all this?" "Yes," they answered, to which he replied, "Every scribe who is learned in the reign of God is like the head of a household, who can bring from his storeroom both the new and the old." When Jesus had finished this parable, he moved on from that district. Sisters and brothers, the Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Happy are they whose health is the God of Jacob. And this is today's response in the responsorial psalm taken from the book of Psalms, chapter 146 and verses 1 to 6. Blessed or happy are those whose health comes from the God of Jacob. And mind you again, blessed and happy are we, even though we haven't been experiencing yet what we expected to come from God, who is also the God of Jacob. But still, amidst all these anxieties, these uncertainties, and even fears causing us all these disorders mentally, again, let us be happy and be comforted by what the psalmists are telling us today. Still, we should be happy because the help that we have been receiving and yet to come comes from the same God of Jacob. Today's gospel reading in today's liturgy, the Thursday of the 17th week in ordinary time, taken from the Gospel of Matthew chapter 13, verses 47 to 53, describes the parable of the net. And it's mentioned in the gospel narration today. The net catches all kinds of fish. Let me talk in detail about the word dragnet. Dragnets, my dear friends, are pulled between two boats. And I suppose those who are very fun in fishing, this is what we mean. Dragnets are pulled between two boats, and they usually measure 100 feet long and 10 feet deep. As the dragnet moves through the water, it forms a kind of a curved wall that catches everything in its path. This is the nature of a dragnet, that it cannot discriminate. Once it is moved through the water, and with forming a curved wall, it catches everything, all kinds, in its path. Good and bad fish, useless and worthwhile fish, edible and poisonous fish. Everything is caught as the dragnet moves through the water. As I said, forming a kind of a curved wall. And this is the nature of a dragnet. It cannot discriminate. The church, my dear friends, is likewise called a dragnet. It cannot discriminate either. The church or his doors is open to everyone in its path. So we find in our church, my dear friends, good people and bad people, thoughtful people and thoughtless people, selfless people and selfish people, righteous people and wicked people, just people and unjust people. These are in the church today. My dear friends, when we find all these sorts of people in our church, we should not be disturbed, we should not be worried, we should not be confused, because Jesus himself said so. The church would be this way. But reality, my dear friends, we get scandalized, human as we are. So let us ask ourselves, how scandalized are we among members in the church, including us consecrated persons, especially we priests, unworthy though we are? How scandalized are we by church members who seem to live one life in church and live another life outside the church? But again, Jesus said, do not worry. At the end, on Judgment Day, the wicked will be separated from the good and all. But this is the way the church exists and how we see it every day. So in prayer then, let us say to the Lord, Lord, help us stop finding faults on some members of the church and help us start finding solutions to help them.